As a man, I get lonely. I can't even call my homies, but I answer every call when my kids call me. I be there when they need me. They depending on me. They looking up to me. Sometimes we gotta fix our mental. Or maybe it's not meant to be a dad, a father, that's what men do. I made a promise to my kids, that's what I do. I just want them to do things better than I do. Or better yet, better things that I did. What is that's mentality? What it is? The mentality of taking care of family. As a man, I get lonely. I can't even call my homies, but I answer every call when my kids call me. I be there when they need me. They depending on me. They looking up to me. Welcome to the show, shout out to the coach. And Maddie Ice, Ice Cold Crypto. And each one, teach one. That's mentality, we just try and reach one. What is, that's mentality.
Hello. Welcome to Dad Mentality Podcast. Thank you for joining us again. It's another week here. We are ending our season this season for the summer so that we can spend time with our family. This is something that we do every year because, you know, the summertime is that time, kids out of school, things like that. We want to spend that time with our family. We will be coming back the first week of September as soon as football season starts. That way we can, get into our terrible picks and the things this season and the great season that the Commanders are going to get ready to have this year. I'm excited about it. I know certain people on this podcast may not be, but, I'm excited about that year coming up and, the hate for all the critics. But, this is an open podcast. If you are watching at any time during this show, I have put the StreamYard link in the bio. You can definitely join us. If you have questions, you can join us during the comments too and send your comments. Shout out to my boy Chow Bao. Thank you for watching. But this I wanted to do this episode because I really wanted to take time to really explain a lot of questions that I've been getting. One of the questions that I've been getting is a lot of people that watch this podcast have known me from the past and have known me from my younger days and things like that. And I respect everybody who does watch from my younger days and even know me from my comedic friends that I hang around with and other podcasts that I do and that I'm not afraid to admit, the Morning Mac Show. Also, my boy Chef Dennis from the Battle to the Glory. LA Josh Preston's podcast. And a lot of these guys have come in and joined me on this podcast and this, that, and the other. So I kind of wanted to give this opportunity to give my truth. So, but before I get into getting my truth, I do want to do, a quick let everybody, quick mental health check-in, because it's definitely something that we feel is important here on Dad Mentality at all times. So before I get my mental health part out, I wanted to check in with my boys who joined me today. Y'all know this gentleman. He's I'm gonna have to say the second half or the least better half of the podcast. But y'all know, because last week we had our girl Lady T here, and she shined like a diamond, son. And she is the better half of his podcast, but he is the founder and everything like that. But it used to be called What's Cooking with Chef Dennis. Now it's called From the Battle to the Glory. And this is my friend and another fellow man of God. And I'm glad to have him here and join us today. But my man, Chef Dennis, what's going on, Chef Dennis? How you doing today?
I'm good. Yourself, man. You know how I am, man. Blessed and highly favored. That's not just something we just say. It's truly how I feel. I am truly blessed and highly favored. God has presented me with some new lenses. So, when I look at life totally different. I don't look at life the same way I was and all my brokenness. I don't look at it like that. You know what I'm saying? Every current event that happens, that occurs in my life, I look at it as something that God wants me to see and improve, and improving it, being the best man I can be. And so, we actually mental health. I'm at a high 8. You know what I'm saying? I'm not at a 10. I'm a high 8 because my legs still be hurting sometimes, but no complaints. I don't complain. I just go through it. I endure whatever I'm supposed to endure. And so with that being said, I love to be here on Dad's Mentality. It's an honor to be here, truly, amongst other brothers, and just conversating and talking one another and letting the world know that us men, we can do this together, collectively, and we can always improve as husbands, brothers, and not only brothers, as leaders. And so that's why I'm always here to encourage one another and encourage you guys so we can be stronger in the Lord.
Absolutely. I just sent the link to Louise. I forgot she asked me to send it to her, so I'm gonna send that to her as well. I appreciate you joining us, Chef Dennis. And y'all know this gentleman, he's my day one. He was my day one in real life, and is my day one on the podcast. To give a little history, I asked this gentleman to join me in a podcast. The first thing he said to me is going to be a lot of work. You really down for this? And I said, absolutely, I'm down for it. And I'll get more into that when I get into it. But, this gentleman has been with me from day one, yes. And the one thing that he's always done is challenge me. And always challenge me to be a better person, do better things, make better decisions. He's never let me get off the hook. And I appreciate that about him. But otherwise, he's a terrible decision maker as far as picking teams in football and things like that. But, absolutely a great friend and somebody I respect and somebody I appreciate that has always been there to never sugarcoat things for me today. So it's my man, Vance Robs, a.k.a. Coach. What's going on, Coach? How you feeling today?
I'm doing good today, man. You know what I'm saying? Can't complain. You know what I mean? Got a chance to get out, you know what I'm saying? Get a bike ride in early. It was hot, but you know what I'm saying, got it in, got it over with. You know what I'm saying? Had a good lunch with my girls today. You know what I mean? Well, not lunch, more like dinner, early dinner. Took them to Texas Roadhouse. Me and the girls just hang out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you know what I'm saying? It was definitely a good day. You know what I'm saying? Last week's, man, troublesome. Well, not troublesome, but just, you know what I'm saying, ups and downs, peaks and valleys. You know what I'm saying, with you know what I'm saying, mental health and so forth. But all in all, if I had to rate it, you know what I'm saying, I'd probably be hovering around 7 right now. So today was really a good day though. You know what I mean? So, you know what I'm saying, going into next week, you know what I'm saying, got some goals that I need to accomplish some things, and you know what I'm saying, that's how I'm gonna look at it. So yep.
Hey, Coach, I know we haven't done this in a while, but I think I'm gonna try to make some time and catch up with you. Well, you working in the office a lot more now, but I love to go for a walk again, man. Those walks that we used to take were great.
Yeah,
Definitely
no
great for
doubt.
my mental health. Definitely, I'm assuming it helped you,
No,
during your
yeah,
time too. But
yeah.
yeah, those walks were legit. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that as men and people, we men don't walk no more. We don't have those candid conversations and things like that where we had those opportunities a lot of the time. And I mean, it was definitely a valuable part in everything that's going on. So, all right, let me get into let me get into my rating. So my rating is still, I'm up high, man. I'll say I'm still up there, 8.5, 9. I give it up there. I've kind of decided to take work out of my rating because work is work. And more focus on the real things that are going on in my life. And right now, it's a lot of good things that are going on in my life. I did have some struggles this week. But I worked through them. The struggles were real, but I worked through them, and I'm proud to now be at a 9. I'm excited about the summer coming and trying to spend time with my children. I do have the opportunity to work with my daughter, which has been great as well. It's a different, I think it has opened up a new eye for her. Like, she knows her dad and she knows me as me throughout the house and this, that, and the other, but seeing me in the work environment and being in that part of it is kind of, in my opinion, opened up a new she sees me even more different than she saw me before. It kind of gave her even more respect. Since then she's been like taking the time, come in my room and gives me a hug, ask me questions, and just being a lot more, compassionate about me being at home. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm home, she's like, "Hey, Dad, why don't you rest today? You want me to make you something to eat?" Things like that, because she knows that I work hard for her and everybody else there. So, it's kind of opened up a new life. So it's been good. Life has been good. And I'm just excited about what's coming up next. I've seen new opportunities and things like that. So anyway, but to get into this topic. So today's topic, I have titled it, is called Rodney Glover versus Beast One. So I'm going to start off with the Beast One personality. The Beast One personality is created in high school. It was actually affectionately given to me by my high school defensive football coach, Mr. T.K. Anderson, one of the brothers that I still respect to this day as a person, as a man. He gave me that name, the Beast, because he said that outside my uniform, I'm a nice guy and I will give you the shirt off my back. But as soon as I put on that helmet, I turned into a beast that didn't like nobody, didn't respect anybody on the field, and would do anything that was told to him without question. And that's where I got the Beast moniker, or the Beast name, was from that. And to be honest with you, the Beast has been a protective person or personality that I've created and been for the most part of my life. When I needed him, the Beast is very smart, and when I say smart, I mean not like smart with brain, I mean like a smart mouth, like quick-witted, will reply to you in a second, won't care what he says, doesn't even think about the answer, just says what he wants to say and does what he wants to do, because that's what the Beast does. He doesn't care. He's not worried about your feelings. He's not worried about the things that happen afterwards. And if you got a problem with it, he's ready for that too. And that moniker, that person has, served me well throughout the years. But as I get older, I'm starting to really feel like that the Beast is no longer necessary. The Beast is no longer a person that I want to be anymore. I want to be Rodney Glover. Rodney Glover does care. Rodney Glover does want to promote, wants to promote, what's the word I'm looking for? Wants to promote positivity. You know what I'm saying? At my job, I just started this job. I probably started it 4 or 5 months ago. They've seen nothing but Rodney Glover. They don't even know the Beast exists at my job. You know what I'm saying? I'm positive. I preach love and helpfulness to everybody there. And, that part of me I want to continue, but it's still a battle for me. And it's something that even on the show when we started Dad Mentality, the Beast was the original host. Coach, you remember when we first started this? Shoot, I would drink during the show. Anything could happen. We really didn't. We talked about some serious conversations, but a lot of time, it became music, video games, things like that. And then as I grew, and as you kind of brought a lot of things to my attention. So, you've been there for these past 2 years, and you've been with me on the show. What have you noticed, or do you understand what I'm saying to you right now, or what I'm, what I'm talking about when I say the Beast versus the Rodney Glover?
Yeah, man. I think originally, you wanted to do a podcast, right? But I don't think you really. I think you had a vision of what you wanted to do. But I think that you were still wrapped up in what everybody else was doing. I think that a lot of the subjects you wanted to talk about, a lot of the topics you wanted to talk about, you were trying to do for likes, laughs, instead of just doing it for what you originally wanted to do it for. And that was really your own mental health, right? You know what I mean? But you wanted to like kind of compare yourself to other podcasts as opposed to remaining original, right? And although, you know what I'm saying, some of the stuff was funny. In order to grow, I think you had to mature out of it. I think there was some times where you stumbled. There was some times where, you know what I'm saying, you knew that that was the wrong decision. And you know what I'm saying, you corrected yourself on that, right? And we're all human, so we all make mistakes. But I think that originally you wanted the podcast to be something, but I didn't think you knew how to get there.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
And how do you feel now?
I think we definitely have progressed a whole lot over the last 2 years. I mean, like you originally said, we were talking about video games and rap music, right? You know what I'm saying? And hip hop music. Or we were talking about some of the whatever was hot topics in the news media. Like we were giving energy to things that we disagree with that didn't even need our energy, right? Because we,
Yeah.
we could be positive in other aspects where, you know what I'm saying, all we were doing was giving the things that we didn't like a bigger voice.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know what I mean? I think as we matured in the podcast, I think we kind of got better in what we talked about, what we kind of allowed and did not allow. I also think that, you know what I'm saying, we held each other accountable on a couple of times on the podcast, right? You know what I mean? Because I think when you go back and you actually visually look at and see yourself, I think that reflection sometimes for people, it kind of changes your perspective. Because sometimes you don't understand it until you rewatch it,
Yeah.
right? And
No.
when you see it, you're like, wait a minute, that's not what I want to represent. Well, that is what I want to represent, right? And that's kind of I think what has taken you on this journey throughout, right? So
Yeah. No, sounds about right. I mean, it is something that I struggle with because in the beginning, you start a podcast. Let's get something straight, and I don't want to say to anybody who is starting a podcast, hey, you know what I'm saying? Do it, but make sure you're ready for it. You know what I'm saying? And I think I was ready for it, but I think I started off good, then I kind of got distracted by, like you said, other podcasts and things like that. And then I was like, oh, well, let's try what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Let's try what this person's doing. Let's try what they're doing. And then, like I said, on a lot of those things, I feel like I failed. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Blue Phoenix. Thank you for joining us. But I'm gonna keep on going. But I feel like I failed, but learning who the identity of that podcast is still something I struggle with. Well, not dad mentality, not the identity of dad mentality, but the identity of myself is still something that I've struggled with because even me in my walk with God has gotten stronger, but I'm still I definitely was battling the first years. You know what I'm saying? Now I definitely feel a lot more confident in my walk with God and feel a lot more confident in myself and where I want to be and what I want to do and where God's leading me to go. So, it's something, but, I want to do this because I wanted to address some of the things that did happen. You know what I'm saying? Like the drinking, like the smoking, like the things that were, I guess, prevalent in the beginning. Because I still have people that think that's what the podcast is about, and it's not. And for me going on forward, I kind of wanted to make sure I cleared the air and understood, like let people understand that that's not what I'm about. That is not what I want the podcast to be. And but that was part of my other identity that, it was kind of like my defense mechanism. So, but going back to when we started, to still get to when we started to where we are today, you know, it definitely felt like when we had the right formula, when we had the right formula, I really understood that this was this was what I wanted. This is the right thing, the mental health part, the helping people, the being the positive light to a lot of situations. So, and shout out to the Xavier's watching this on Twitch, but we're not talking about a game, brother. We're talking about life. We're talking about life on this podcast. So anyway, but it's definitely a great place that I came from, and where we are now. So I do want to give some shots out to a few people. One, I'm gonna start with real quick Reese before Chef is here. Reese was supposed to be here. I don't know where she at, but Reese always gave me a place to, even though be the Beast One, I can still be Rodney Glover and Beast One at the same time. And that's why I love being a part of her show and being that part of the show. I guess Louisa will be our resident talk for the Morning Mac show. But me myself, even though I tell people all the time, don't listen to the message, don't always pay attention to the messenger. You know what I'm saying? It has been something that the Beast was I would come on my show and I would be Rodney Glover. Then I would go on the Morning Mac show and be unapologetically the Beast One. You know what I'm saying? Where you got to see that personality, and after a while, it really became a conflict. Even became a conflict for other people. But then I was like, well, if you don't listen to me, don't listen to me. But then then God started working with me, and it actually started being a conflict for myself. So, that's why I kind of brought it up and wanted to talk about it. But Weezy, what did you think? I know you've seen a little bit of Beast One and Rodney Glover. So what did you think, or how do you feel about, what you heard or what I've said so far?
I think it's it's not funny, but it is, because like you're talking about the transition, and I giggle a little bit because we all had that time, I laugh because I never felt comfortable calling you Beast, ever. Never have it. So it's so interesting. So even when I started like coming more so on the Morning Mac show, I don't know, I just didn't like to call you Beast. It just, to me, you wasn't Beast. So it was hard for me to call you that. So I can see from when I started coming in and watching and then started coming on the show, I can see your transition just from that little bit of time. And it's pretty cool to see that. And you can, like you said, the contradiction you felt, just the way you felt, you can always see, like, your face is very readable, which is why I asked you earlier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so so it's like you can just tell, like, even after you say certain things, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. It's like you started questioning stuff. So it's really cool to see that this was something that you were dealing with. And it wasn't just something you were saying, you were actually dealing with it. You were, not toying with it, but just something that you were going through within yourself and you started to show. So it's really cool. It's really cool.
Well, I did want to say this because I feel like I was most transparent of Rodney Glover on the From the Battle to the Glory podcast. Now, I don't know if you followed that, Louisa, but I can honestly tell you that I met him. Chef Dennis, you came and was just in the comments of the Morning Mac show one day, and you said, hey, I have a show, it's Who's Cooking, check it out. And I followed you, but then I started getting your reels and things like that, and I was like, hold on, what this brother is talking about is really what I want dad mentality to be. You know what I'm saying? At that point in time, I was still fighting with my identity on the show and the show's identity and things like that. And once I started watching Chef Dennis and his unapologetically love for God, and is unapologetically love for himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, even like I could tell from the day one of watching Chef Dennis's show that he was being his true self all the time. You know what I'm saying? At least from me watching from the outside in. And I respected that. And I was like, yo, what this guy's doing, I really want to be a part of that. I really want to be, I really want to be honest with you, strengthen Rodney Glover. You know what I'm saying? Strengthen Rodney Glover to the point where, I didn't need to be the Beast One anymore. And when I first came on the show, I didn't tell Chef Dennis none of this. You know what I'm saying? I just came on the show. I went on there, gave my apology, really me, who I am and this, that, and the other. And he accepted it. And I want to thank him for that also. But just being honest about what I really want to be and what I'm trying to move on to. So Chef Dennis, I mean, I don't know if you've ever really caught the Beast One when he can be his defensive, and I'm be honest with you, asshole of a self. And then when you saw Rodney Glover and was like, was you ever conflicted? Did you ever catch any of that, or how did you feel?
Nah. So, like I always tell you, people come into my life that's supposed to be in my life. They have a purpose in my life, and I have a purpose to be in their life. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So when I met you, you said, "Oh yeah, I saw your podcast and I check it out, and I really like what you're doing." Boom, and it was like a genuine divine connection. We talked. You talked to me. You said you was on the Mac show. I really didn't look at the Mac show. I just because I was at work all the time. 10 o'clock is my getting ready to get out of work. I get out of work until noon every day, and so I just want to be encouraging to people. But I'm not gonna get real technical with you. But I'm obedient, and I was sitting here listening to you, and I want to tell you something. I'm not a prophet or anything like that. I am a true man of God. I strive to live for God. And the one thing he just told me to tell you is you got to take the layers off. The layers, like an onion. You got to peel back the layers. And peeling back those layers, it will transform into something new. And so when you begin to start to pull those layers off, you'll see, everybody will see a difference about you. And I'm like Phoenix. I never saw a Beast One. I was not going to ever call you that either. I was like, Rodney, when you first started calling, I was calling you Beast One. Then I was like, man, I'm not calling no Beast One. I'm calling Rodney. I was like, yo, Rodney, what's up, baby?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But even you explaining something about Beast One, I can tell you this, is that as I got to know you, you had some issues and you expressed them to me on the show as well as person to person, because you know what? You got to really know a person to have them come around your family. You met me the first time I was around your family. Like you knew my spirit that I carry, the personality that I had, like you said, is genuine. And with that being said, it's just like me and you was like a divine connection, as well as I came down to your family house. I met everybody. And that's the persona I portray. I love, happiness, joy, laughter. That's it. I want to see a smile on people's faces. You know what I'm saying? Even in the midst of their, their downtime or their suffering or their bereavement or anything, it's smile, because guess what? You got another opportunity to do it over again. And you are truly blessed to have your daughter, your sons. Your son is awesome. Okay. Your oldest son, man. Listen, humble. That young man is truly humble. You know what I'm saying? And I am so glad to meet him. And your little son, he is humble as well. He's quiet, peaceful. You know what I'm saying? Your daughter, peaceful manners. You know what I'm saying? And that's all a reflection of you. You know what I'm saying? That's a true reflection of you. Yes, we all have things that we got to fix. And that's what you're striving to do right now. So I want to say to you, I'm proud of you to acknowledge that. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people, once you acknowledge that you have some issues that you want to fix, God will come in. And you allow God to do it, not you. When you allow God to do it, in due time, it will be fixed. You know what I'm saying? And this is a great place to do it, on dad mentality. And in the midst of all that, guess what? It's going to be, you're going to inherit the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? You're going to inherit that. And guess what? Like I said before, the one word that he gave me was layers. There is things you don't even have to tell nobody. You take it to God. When you take it to God, he'll start pulling it off. But you truly surrender everything to him. And I promise you this. You already know. You on the verge. You know what I'm saying? When you begin to start to doing that, listen, everything is going to fall into place. Your kids they're going to move to another, like they're going to excel as long as you stay let God be the first. I mean, your wife, your kids, your family. Yes, they're going to see a great man. That mentality is the place to be for men to get some type of knowledge of growth. You know what I'm saying? Vulnerability, accountability. You doing it all. And guess what? It's starting with you. You the leader of dad's mentality, and it starts with you and you doing something great. And so all I saw was a great guy. That's it. I hug you, I do whatever. You know, I'm big on all that. So it's like that's what you're doing. The transformation is great, and you continue doing those things. And guess what? You're gonna elevate. I tell you about at the job too. Nah, don't let nobody. Now you're in a new place. You begin to be in a new place. Don't let nobody, work, no one steal your joy. That's yours. It's everlasting. You can't let nothing come pull you down, get you aggravated, get you mad. Nothing. You say no. You tell anybody you ain't stealing my joy, and that's it. I guarantee you, it's going to change the atmosphere. It's going to change that. And so that's the road you on right now. And look, I'm proud of you. And you know, I'm happy. I'm happy for you. Like I'm smiling because I'm truly, when I say I'm happy, you know, happy, but full of joy. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Lady T, she love you. You like her big bodyguard.
Hey, well, you gotta be, because you know Chef Dennis, even though his opinion may be wrong, he'll still he'll still act like it's right. But coming into the room, y'all know this young lady is the beautiful Mrs. Okay, she left. All right, don't worry about that then. All right, we'll go back to the next. But anyway, so I'm glad you showed up, Molly. Molly is the super producer, or the somewhat producer of the Morning Max show. You know, but he's definitely, I feel like, a great person to come in here and discuss the battle of Rodney Glover versus the Beast One, because he's seen, in my opinion, both aspects of those two people, and I would love to know your opinion on that too. Rodney Glover versus the Beast One. Have you seen both of them, and what was your opinion? What is your opinion of both of them and the road that I'm going on?
I mean, it sounds like, you know, most people want Rodney, you know, but I like the Beast, you know. That's who I met first. That's who I dealt with the most. But I did, you know, it shocked me when I met Rodney for the first time. And that's when I came on your show, you know, but that did let me know that you're a natural leader, you know. So a lot of people might not see that, but you control the room. If you wanted to be funny, it can be funny. If you want to be serious, it can be serious. If you want to be about these kids, it can be about these kids' relationship. You control the room. You know, and I done seen people laugh and joke on different platforms, but when they come over here, things get serious. I even seen one dude cry on here. I ain't gonna say no names, LA. I know y'all did. You know, but I'm just saying, you know, so I like that, you know, you can turn it on and off. You know, it ain't like the Beast just pop out. Like I never seen you on Dad Metallic and the Beast just popped out, you know. But it been times I seen the Beast on other shows and Rodney pop out. You know, I'm like, oh, that's Rodney right there. You know, it ain't always, but it always been fun to me. I like the fact that, you know, you can make people laugh. Sometimes you can make people get mad at you, but I never seen you physically hurt nobody being the Beast. You know, I never see you physically say, I will come and do this and do that to you. You never really threaten nobody, but I like it. You know, I think you should, you know, hold on to him, try to learn to live with him and tame him, because I don't think he's going nowhere. I think Louisa told you that before. He ain't going nowhere, you know, and he ain't hated by most, you know, he loved by most of the people. And it was a courtesy, like you said, you come on the show, you starting a podcast. I seen Charleston White, Kevin Samuels, all of them tried the nice Rodney style early on. Then when they went beast mode, Charleston White lit now. I mean, rest in peace to Kevin Samuels, but he turned the leaf, you know, and it seemed like that's what the internet and these kids missing, it seems like Beast more real with you. You know, he gonna be straight up with you. He ain't gonna care about what you want to hear. He gonna tell you what you gotta hear. But Rodney
Nah,
might.
that's Rodney. Nah, that's Rodney. That's Rodney. The
Oh,
beast is
okay, I
the
don't
beast is
know.
the one. Yeah, the beast is just the beast that insults you though. Well, I do that too. I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah.
I'm working on it. I'm
Yeah,
trying to
well,
figure the whole thing out.
we gonna
Yeah,
work.
but
But they know more about Rodney than I do, so I'm gonna learn more as I go. You know, as the show go on.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, I'm gonna give a quick shout out my boy. Now this dude knows the beast one. This is my boy Daryl. He's been my boy. He grew up during a time where the beast one was very prevalent. So Molly, you know, when I tell you these stories that the beast one was out there, Daryl is one person that was there for those days. You know what I'm saying? He was there. He was there at the icebox when I got in a fight with security and still somehow got back in the joint. They still can't figure out how that happened.
The Beast
Rodney
One is
got
a bad influence as well. I need people to know that.
Who a bad influence?
The
The beast
Beast.
won. The beast
He's a
won.
bad
Yeah.
influence. Because I want to remind you guys, all these dudes is 4 years older than me. I was not supposed to be in the icebox at 14. Why is I there? It was supposed to be 18 and over to get in there. Why am I doing there at 14? Because of
But you
Rodney.
know,
I like
but,
good
you know.
friends to me. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But he definitely but nah, I got so Daryl, you haven't got to see much of the you saw a lot more of my younger self and what I used to do back in the day and things like that. But as my show have come along, I know you've watched quite a few episodes of Dad Mentality. How do you feel about that the you know, knowing me from the past and then who I am becoming today? How's that do you have an opinion about it or what do you think?
Well, remember, I was gone from y'all for a while too, though. Remember, we
Yeah.
had lost contact for a very, very long time because I was just all over the place. But I mean, I definitely see the growth. I mean, I definitely think the children helped it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I definitely think the children helped it, but I see the growth. I definitely see it. Yeah, I mean, you stopped drinking, right? You still stopped drinking, am I right?
Well, I have drunk, but I don't drink like I used to. I haven't bought alcohol in my house in forever, but you know, I went and hung out and have had a drink, so I can't say I never drunk. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh,
I'm
okay,
definitely not. You remember the real days, the
yeah,
binge
yeah, yeah, yeah,
drinking
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
things like that. Like I had maybe two drinks. If I had two drinks, then that ain't drinking to me. You know
Yeah.
how it was back in the day. We used to finish a half gallon a night, like you know.
Yeah, that was disgusting. We shouldn't be alive right now. But you know what I mean? Yeah, but I definitely see the growth though. I definitely see the growth in the show from when it first started to now. But I see the growth. I definitely see it.
I
You know what I mean?
appreciate it.
I definitely see the growth.
Well,
I'm proud of you though. I'm proud of you.
I
You kept you
appreciate it. I'm
kept
still I'm
you
still
kept this going
struggling.
through, especially with the dad mentality. You know, a lot of people that gave up. You still, you know what I mean? You're still going. So
Uh,
that's a great thing. You still pushing through.
well,
So
I committed a certain amount of time that I'm still going to give and do for everything. And like I said, I do the show just to make you know I don't do this show for any fame or anything like that. I do the show for my own mental health. It's helped me. You know what I'm saying? It's helped me
gotcha.
being a safe place where I can do stuff where I can vent for real and talk about the things that I'm working through. If I didn't have this show, I probably still would be drinking. If I didn't have this, I probably still would be doing a lot of other things that I was doing before. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that, and I mean, let's get some. You know, I'm gonna make sure I defend myself. I was never a bad person. It wasn't like I was out here destroying lives or doing anything like that. But you know, there's always room for growth for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And to become a better person. But you know, during this 2-year journey, there has been a lot of struggles for me, externally and internally. And you know, real quick, since I got my wife here, I don't know if she moving, so I guess she's really you really still you're here now, baby. If I call on you, gonna disappear or nah? You good? All right. So you know, Vicky, what have you noticed during this journey in growth and difference between when I first started this podcast and this last 2 years?
So when you began the podcast, can you all hear me? First of all, because I was having
Yes,
some
we can hear you.
issues. Okay, great. So when you first started the podcast, I thought it was nice, but I didn't really want to listen to the podcast. I think after like 2 or 3 episodes, and you were like trying to find yourself, trying to find your niche, and when you began to talk about some of the internal things that you were going through, the Beast versus, Rodney Glover, I didn't believe you because what you were saying on air didn't match who you were and how you showed up in real life. And so I didn't want to watch the podcast because I did not believe you. And it was incongruent to what I knew. And it was like you were presenting one person on the air, but then you were a different person in real life. And so, but I've seen how over time of you tackling and facing yourself, um, the Beast versus the Beast, and the Beast versus Rodney Glover, and Rodney Glover versus Rodney Glover, being intentional about digging deep and acknowledging those places of you that are not sparkling clean, that you're working through and that you need growth with, being open and transparent to tackle those issues. I've seen your growth over time. And even when you begin to tackle those issues, I know that struggle is not, one and done. Like it's a transition, which means there's a process in the midst of this. You just don't go from not drinking from drinking to not drinking. Yes, you know, God can cure you just like that, but yours was a transition. I believe that like you would give excuses and things like that when we would go out or when you were faced with that decision. But it wasn't until you committed yourself to being a better person, a better you, and being less of the beast is when that transition began to be evident and more congruent between the airways and real life. And that's when I began to listen in on the show. Okay, what is he talking about now? Let me see where his heart is right now. Because some of the things that you would talk about, we would maybe have like a little conversation about, but you would go a little bit more in depth, especially with the questions and the panelists and things like that were on. And so even my girlfriends would then watch the show and they were like, I learned a lot about your husband. I didn't know all this, and things like that. And I was like, wait a minute, let me chime in a little bit to see what's going on. But it wasn't until you made the conscious decision that you wanted to be better is when that transition became evident and consistent across all platforms. I mean, between that mentality and real life. Now, the thing, like you mentioned, you would be unapologetically the beast when you would go on Reese's show, and then you would be Rodney Glover on That Mentality, and that was very it like convicted my spirit because I would hear the conversations that you would have on the Reese
Morning Mac
show,
show.
and then the Morning Max show, and then the conversations that you would have on Dad Mentality. And it was like bipolar. And I was like, well, I know that he's trying to be better, but this is not good for him because you're consistently feeding yourself with those topics, and you're digging deeper into that person opposed to digging deeper into the person you want to be. And so like even listening to some of the conversations that you would have, I'll be like, ugh, like it just like vexed my spirit, and I would pray, Lord, Father God, it's just help him to we're all become who you have created him to be, and to lay aside all things that do not bring you glory. And because one show brought him glory and one show did not, it was like you were lukewarm. And so I'm so glad that you are in this process of continuing to become, we all are becoming, that I can see the growth, definitely on Dad Mentality and in real life. And the topics are interesting. The topics are not just like any other podcast or shooting the breeze or whatever. It's something that can dig deep down into others people's souls. And we would, I don't know if you remember, but we would get calls from my brother's friend that was dealing with some serious issues. And he would just call and like just say, thank you for talking about this. People don't talk about this. I have never seen men talk about this in my circle, or, and it has affected me. And he would say, this is the reason why X, Y, and Z. And he just would say, keep on doing what you're doing because it is very effective. And you don't know who you're going to influence or lay the seed for. You just don't know by what you say and the conversation that you carry on. And so it's important that you're consistent on all platforms so your character can be well spoken of. And so yeah, I'm just so excited that you have decided that you are pushing the beast, aside, because that was a joker right there. That was a joker. And but becoming more of Rodney Glover, and yeah, I'm loving who you are becoming. I know that was
All right.
long-winded.
Well, it was a long-winded way to say you don't like the Beast one. You're happy that
I don't like him
but
either.
I love it.
but I like him. I mean, let's get him straight. Nah, I mean, but here's the thing. I'm be honest. So I am going to defend Reese's show a little bit. I understand that my wife and the topics may not have been something that she wants me to discuss on an open platform. I get that, but Reese's show does have a cause for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that there was anything wrong with the things like, hey, I have a choice to discuss anything that I discuss. So if I discuss it, then that's my choice. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not taking anything or blaming anything. It was definitely Reese's show that helped me in different aspects. You know what I'm saying? In different aspects of myself. Like there was a lot of things that were said on Reese's show that I even have some haters on her show, but I still meant everything I said. It's like there's nothing there that I still, even as Rodney Glover, did not, I still meant it. I thought that they were liars, so I called them a liar. You know what I'm saying? And now, did I need to be in that conversation? Probably not. But I still meant it, so I don't take that back as Rodney Glover or the Beast one. But anyway, to go into other things, but it is what it is. I do feel that being able to openly talk about sex, to be able to openly talk about even things that are typically not a conversation that you would have, and those are some of the conversations we had on the Morning Mag show. It is something that everything that I said to Reese and the things that she does, I feel that I've been very open about even how I feel in talking on a different way or a different platform about it. Chef Dennis's show is something different. It's very positive, but we argue on there all the time. You know what I'm saying?
You do, not me.
Huh?
You do, not me.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. I'm here with you, buddy. I'm gonna tell you like it is. I don't hold nothing back. It be you, not me.
Okay, now I see who argues. Okay.
Yeah. You see how quickly?
Yeah,
like if he ain't argued, why he even jump in and say that,
I
right?
will defend myself.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
So point has been made, right? So, but I mean,
listen, you attack, I have my shield up.
But I mean, a lot of the times, let's get something straight. A lot of the times, the show would be boring if we just sit here and agree with each other on everything. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to watch a show where we're gonna sit here and agree all the time. Me being in this vulnerable place, listening to the things that people have to say is still interesting because anybody can say something negative or whatever the case may be, and I have to deal with it. But the thing about it is going back to Chef Dennis show. So I do want to go back to Chef Dennis show real quick because I feel that was being a part of his show was really transitional for me. You know what I'm saying? It really helped me to make the decision to be more consistent in what I'm saying and what I'm doing and not not dealing with things that I don't even need to be involved in. You know what I'm saying? Or have that conversation. But, and then talking to him on his show, and he had the young lady on there. I can't even remember her name anymore. You remember the young lady name that we had on there? And I might have got a little teary-eyed, and I was talking about my transition.
Yeah, the birthing
room. Yes. That was when I decided to quit my job. That was decided that when I decided to go in, Chow Bout in the room, and of course he don't know how to mute his mic. Let me go ahead and take care of that. Anyway, but welcome Chow Bout. But it was really on his show that is where I decided that I didn't want to drink anymore, and I decided that I didn't want to do certain things and be more of that positive Rodney light. So, it is what it is. Now, don't get me wrong. Rodney still has a smart mouth too. He still did, the Beast One is like is like, and I feel that everybody has that a lot of people have learned to push it back or take it down, but everybody has that defense mechanism person. You know what I'm saying? Where triggers happen, things happen, and that person comes out. That defense comes out. So, I mean, a lot of people do it in their jokes, like the comedians that are on the Morning Mac show. A lot of people do it and some people do it in real time, in real life. So, quick shout out to my man, Chow Bao. Thank you for joining us, sir. I don't know. I guess you've been listening so far. Did you have anything you wanted to add right off the bat, or any questions or anything you wanted to jump in with?
No, I was just saying, thanks for the invite, man. I see you shot the link, and then I was listening and heard that this was going to be the last show for the season until football season, I believe is what you said.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so I definitely wanted to accept that link and come show love because you always come hang out with us on the podcast. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing?
All right.
Well, I guess you can talk for L.A. Johns Preston in the difference between Rodney Glover and the Beast One, because I know L.A. experienced it for himself when he came on the show and was thoroughly confused when he came on Dad Mentality. He didn't know that it wasn't going to be what you call it. But how do you feel about the two personalities that you met on L.A. Josh Preston's show and stuff like that? So
well, to be perfectly honest, I could speak for myself on that note because when I met you on Reese and Molly and them show on the Morning Mac show, and you went in as soon as you met me, and I was like, okay, who the hell is this guy right here? But I know he just joking, so I'm just gonna roll with the punches. And then I watch your show, you know what I mean, and I listen to the things you've talked about on Dad Mentality, and I'm like, this is a whole totally different person than the person that he be on this other show. And but I respect it all though. You know what I'm saying? We all go through battles with ourselves in different kind of ways. And what makes it great is the fact that you notice that you need to change certain things about yourself to be better. You know what I mean? To be a better husband, better father, better everything. You know what I mean? And sometimes it just takes time for us to realize that as men and have the courage to admit it really as men, because we feel like we can't admit nothing that's bringing us down without feeling like we soft or feeling like somebody gonna judge us. You know what I mean? When we grow to the part where we don't care about what nobody else think and doing the things that's right for us and what we know is right in God's eyes when it comes to certain things, you know what I mean? Then that's when you become that better man. You know what I mean? And you see the differences in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. Yeah, so it's definitely something that I've been internally battling with for a while, and just trying to figure out the whole process. But I've realized that it's something that I gotta let go. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta get better at being Rodney Glover, which is actually the true me. You know what I'm saying? The Beast One is somebody that I can be that's funny at times, but then sometimes I feel like I don't know when the joke needs to stop. You know what I'm saying? And I battle a lot of times with that because I just I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. I'm still figuring out when is a good time. When is the time that I don't need the Beast one. So, as we get into it, go ahead, Chef Dennis. You look like you about to say something. You was about to say something?
Yeah, I want to say something to you.
Go ahead.
But you talk about this Beast One. You said that was when you was playing football, right?
That's when it started. Yes,
that's when it
Beast
started.
One. That's when I got that moniker. Yeah.
So that's an attitude. That's a persona you put on, right?
Yeah.
But as I got to know you, there were things that you said to me openly and publicly that you had issues with, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you, and now this person, this Beast One that you're talking about, right? You still can have a personality that's going to be funny, but just be more, now you have more compassion about it, more empathy about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's think about it, because for every action, there's a reaction. Regardless of how you may say it, your delivery is important, because it can hurt somebody's feeling to the point where they can go into a depression. And that's because you might think it's funny, but now you put this person in depression because you hurt their feelings. You might think it's funny, but at the end of the day, now look what you've done. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the Beast One person. I'm not talking about Rodney, because I only know Rodney.
Empathy is not something I definitely struggle with. Period. Or both aspects.
But so that's not, I mean that's the whole thing. Now, as you continue to grow and going forward, you gotta look at that, because sometimes, look, the things that come out of our mouth is like poison. Sometimes you can't take those words back. You know what I'm saying? And so people hold on to those words, and guess what? You don't know what it'll do to them. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's important to watch what we say and how we do it. No matter what form it is, it's just got to be mindful of the things that we say, because guess what? Other people you in this new light now. And so now in this new light, you got to think like that. You got to be mindful of how you say it, how you present it to people. And you still could be funny, but you got to be mindful of how you say it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Phoenix. Phoenix would want to say something.
A few things. Let me start off with Chef Dennis saying, you must be mindful. I've been in radio since 2017. I started at We Act Radio, so I was actually on radio, and then I've been podcasting since then. So it's yes, you must be mindful. You must be considerate and think about what you say before you say. But a lot of times, it doesn't matter what you say or do, and it's not your responsibility or your fault how people take things. Now, if you're just being nasty and stuff, yeah, okay. But I'm not one of those people who just go off. I'm not one of those people who just say any random thing. I'm very considerate, and I think before I speak a lot of times. So, and I get hate. I get posts. I get messages. I get all types of stuff. And a lot of it's because I'm defensive, or I am one who is an advocate for men. I get a lot of mess. So it really doesn't matter what you say or do. The fact that, it just doesn't matter. You can't be politically correct because everybody has a political thought. It doesn't matter what you say, it's just going to come off wrong on somebody. And then to the topic of Beast, like I said before, you are not getting rid of him. He is transitioning into another place where he is needed. So before, Beast was your protection. Beast was how you were surviving. And again, like you said, it started on the football field where you needed to be that person to protect yourself, right? But it came off because you also needed to be that person for other things. That is who you were to survive. Now you're coming out of survival. Now you're coming out of the place of hurt. You're dealing with the things that you went through or that hurt you. So now that part of Beast does not need to be there, which is why you felt conflicted in certain things, which is why you felt a little heavy when you acted a certain way, which is why you started thinking about the things you did in that mode. The thing is, we try to get rid of that person when they are a part of us. Again, your darkness is a part of you. But we are ashamed, or we have an issue with that part. Without that part, your light won't be as bright as it is. So now Beast will be there in a different way. He'll be there to protect your family, to protect yourself, to, give you the courage to move, to give you certain things. It'll transition into something better. So stop saying I'm getting rid of him. Y'all need to get rid of him. I ain't like him. He was there because he had to be there.
I like what you're saying.
It wasn't intentional to hurt people, but because you were hurt, that's what you did. You know what I'm saying? So it's not you pushing them away or this and that. It's who you had to be. And as far as Vicky, I appreciate what you said because it's a testament when the person who knows you for real can see that change. So I appreciate you coming on, Vicky, and understanding because you changed, she changed. You need to know that. Because you wouldn't change, she couldn't change. So your position is to lead. And because you're taking this position to lead, she's able to follow you in the way she's supposed to. So it's a whole transition. It's not just you. Because you're changing, she's changing, the children are changing. Though you guys did that together, it's going to be a whole different journey now. So I'm very proud of not only your choice, but Vicky's choice and the children's choices because it could be in a different way. So the whole thing trickles on down. So it's great.
Daryl?
All right, I'm gonna say this because I knew you for a very long time. So I knew the Beast. Like he said longer than everybody. The one thing I can say, like the Beast is a jokester. He loves to joke and stuff like that. What I have noticed over the years, and I'm just keeping it real, like you joke, right? But sometimes when somebody hits you with a joke, your whole mode change. You get very defensive. You understand what I'm saying? Like you start, like you just shut down. And they be like, well, like, damn, what happened? Like, we always joking. Like, man, you was throwing these kind of jokes, and when somebody throw a joke at you don't like, yeah, you're shut down. You ever notice that you do that?
More recently than others, not really, no. Because the only reason I shut down is because I don't want to say anything that I don't want to take. I want to take back. That's the only reason why I shut down. It ain't got to do nothing with me. My feelings ain't hurt. I can promise you that. Okay. That ain't what happened. But but it all depends. Recently you saw me because I'm not. The thing was back in the day I used to drink and then I would just say things. I wouldn't care anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because the liquid courage would be involved. But recently you haven't seen me with the liquid courage anymore. So yeah, you might have cracked the joke and I didn't say anything else or let it go, but that ain't, trust me, it ain't nothing about you hurting my feelings. Okay. I love each and every one of y'all. You ain't hurt my feelings. Trust me on that one. I promise you. Right. Yeah.
But I was you still wonder that.
You still the ugliest dude I know, brother. Every day you're gonna be
that dude. Hold on. First of all, I'm the cutest chocolate nigga you ever seen in your life. Let's get that out there. I'm the cutest dark skin nigga you ever met.
Hey, yo, Darren, I'm about to get your back. Don't worry, bro.
Let the women see it, man.
Like, first of all, no, I'm always say I'm the cutest.
That's the vote of one person right there.
Listen.
Look, that's the only vote that matters.
Say that one more time. Can you say that one more time?
I said that's the only vote that matters.
Thank you. And Rodney is the ugliest light-skinned dude I ever met. You understand what I'm saying? He messed it up for Albie Shaw, Christopher Williams. All the light-skinned dudes back in the
Vicky,
early
you laughing a little too hard over there, Vicky. A little too hard on the giggles, Vicky.
You messed it up for all of them. They see you, they was like, damn, we lost.
Don't catch feelings. It was a joke.
No, I'm trying to figure out why you laughing though. What you over there giggling for? That's what I'm
she was laughing the whole time. I got your back. I was watching.
But Vicky, my sister. Vicky, my sister, she gonna laugh. You know how
man. Little, she laughed a little. She chuckled a little too hard on that one. I don't know about that. But anyway, but nah, it was nothing like that, brother. Trust me, it takes a lot to hurt my feelings.
But we always wonder that. And I'm speaking for all the brothers too. We always wonder that, man, the son, all right, he just sat down, he just stopped joking. You feel me? You done said plenty of jokes that was very over the max. Let's get that out the air. Very over the max. So we just, we never knew, like, did we hit
Y'all
a,
know it ain't
you
like I
know?
ran. It's like I ran off crying
No,
or
you
something.
ain't got to run, but
He
I'm
gonna
just saying
cry
if you
when he
just
gets
sat
to the
there.
car. He gonna cry when he gets.
Nah. I can promise you that was never an issue for me. And I
All
love
right,
my
cool.
brothers, and that's what we do. But recently y'all seen the sober Rodney. The sober Rodney. After a while, maybe I
Yeah,
just
I
it
was
was like, all
so.
right, I'm good. like I'm
That's a
good. I
fact.
just go ahead and move on. Yeah, but it's not. Nah, it's all loving basketball, man. It don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Trust me. I look at each and every one of y'all and feel bad for y'all. So I ain't tripping.
You should feel
Life is
bad
good.
for us.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
because
whoa.
I see how ugly you are. It must be hard to walk through life every day. But
Oh,
we ain't gonna
man.
talk.
Here
You
we
gotta
We ain't
go.
mess
gonna
it up,
leave
man.
jokes. We gonna keep it
Hey,
moving.
yeah,
Let's
Here
keep it
we go.
serious.
Yeah,
Here we
okay,
go.
okay.
See?
Yeah, we
Nah,
gonna keep it serious. But
hey Vic, he about to bring out the monster in me.
but
Mhm.
See? See?
yeah,
Mhm.
We all
uh,
have that place, believe
Word.
me.
Yeah.
I listen.
yeah.
I know I do. I try to keep him contained. I keep him in there because you mess
But
with my
don't, but
wife.
don't,
Look,
don't.
you mess with my wife and my kids. Woo.
You
That's a
gotta let
bad
them
Yeah,
thing.
merge with you. That's the thing. You gotta merge with
That's
that
a
person
that's a bad thing.
and let both of y'all grow together. You
Who
can't
me?
fight.
Listen,
You gotta merge because you keep pushing something down. That pressure will
yeah,
make the cap pop.
Pressure,
Gotta
pressure
merge
must.
with.
Yeah, pressure bust pipes.
yeah. You gotta be careful too. Keep identifying them as different people. They got medicine for
Yeah,
people like that.
yeah,
But I do know about the alter ego thing. You play sports, you gotta have it. And I was always small, and I started running back. And I just on the field, I was different. On the field, I ain't care. I want to run through something. I want to hit something. Then off the field, I was totally different. But I didn't know where to channel that after sports, and then I found video gaming.
yeah,
On a video game, I'm totally different. I'm
yep,
cussing you mother. I get it all out. Like I get it
yeah,
all out. Because them kids on there, they be saying things that make it come out. I don't care who you is. You can't be on the game and be calm if you really into it. So I think that's the only time I really get the channel that and get that out. Because when I was coming out of school, podcasting wasn't lit like it is now. If it was, I probably went straight to podcast and then what's going on there. But I think video gaming help, and I know you already into that beast. So stay the
yeah.
beast
Video
on.
game
Yeah,
is my moniker on video game is the Beast One, and yes, I am brutal on it.
yeah,
Brutal. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, that was where the Beast One also came out as too. But a lot of people think that's where the name began, and that's not. But yeah, on video games, that's it too. And but that's also how the podcast started, because I was playing. I had a group of boys that we all played video games together, and we would talk about life. And I was helping my boy through a divorce, a nasty, nasty divorce. And we was like, yo, let's talk about the positive things. You know what I'm saying? Let's talk about the positive things that us black men are doing, and even men. And this guy was white, but us men are doing out here in this world, because it's so many negative things that's going on, that the positivity and the positive things that happen, we don't talk about. So it was definitely something and when I came, like I said, when we first started this, I was really trying to figure out where we wanted to go. We started off talking about recent events. We started off doing stuff like that and doing other things, and it took some really bad decisions to then figure out that, okay, from this point on, this is all I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? All I'm doing is mental health, positivity, talking about addiction, talking about these things like that. And I'm not going to try to be something else. You know what I'm saying? And it took some time. It took some effort. And then, once I started talking about it, researching and learning, and then I started thinking, if I'm going to sit here and keep on telling people to do these things, then I got to start doing them too. You know what I'm saying? And it's not overnight. It's definitely not. It's definitely not overnight to make the decision to want to do anything. Nothing's going to happen with the snap of a finger. You really have to work at it, and you're going to make mistakes along the road. But I did want to I'm not going to keep y'all for long. I do want to show a clip, because this clip kind of epitomizes exactly how I was. Well, it doesn't really. Let me just play it. It kind of just summed up where God is talking to me right now, and where I need to be. Let's see if I can find it first. Hold on. And I wish I had a super producer, but I ain't got that, so it's just me.
I see you got your name up there as the Beast too.
No, that's Molly up there, the Beast too. Yeah. Molly love to smoke. I don't know why y'all don't think he don't. Molly love that smoke. I love them. I love Molly's personality as far as how he comes in and always he likes to go against whatever you say. Even he may agree with you. I still believe he still will try to see
You
just
gotta
to
make
see.
it a show, man.
I think
You really believe what you're talking about.
if my boy LA was a cartoon character, boy, Molly could make steam come out of LA.
I was gonna ask you where he at just to piss him off, and I said, nah, not today.
All right. Well, this is I'm gonna go ahead and play this, and it's a little bit long, but it kind of just explains to you where I am in my journey with God, and what really brought me to make this episode. So.
Where you actually understand what's going on, there's no way you could ever read it the same again. Now, we can both agree that I don't know what you're going through in life. I haven't talked to you today, but after watching this video, don't be surprised if you find yourself saying, this showed up at the perfect time. So we all know about Jesus being crucified. He was in the garden praying, Judas found him, betrayed him with a kiss, all that stuff, right? Now, I'm not saying that's incorrect, but if you start there, it is incomplete because there was something that happened before the betrayal that you will probably never hear in church. And it's not because they didn't want you to know, it's likely because they didn't realize it was there. So in John chapter 18, right before Jesus is arrested, he's seen throughout scripture doing some traveling. He had been in Jerusalem, and now he was headed to the Garden of Gethsemane to pray. Now, at first glance, this may not seem like a big deal, but let me show you why it is. Where did we say Jesus was coming from? Jerusalem. That's right. And where was he headed? To the Garden of Gethsemane. Correct. And what was he going there to do? He was going to pray. Okay, now don't miss this, because these two places seem pointless until you realize they both serve a greater purpose. But in order for you to understand what that purpose is, you have to first understand what these words mean. So the first word is Jerusalem, and it means the city of peace, okay? Now remember that. And the next word, Gethsemane, means oil press. Now I know what some of y'all are thinking. So he was leaving the city of peace to go to an oil press? Well, kinda, but there's something that happens in between. In order for you to get from Jerusalem to the Garden of Gethsemane, you had to go through the Kidron Valley. Now see, that may not be seen as a striking statement until you discover what it means. The Kidron Valley was also known as the Valley of Decisions. It was the place you found yourself in when you kept going back and forth. Now I'm about to say something and only 3 of y'all gonna catch it, but it's where you are when you in between peace and pressure. Now watch this, because I'm in the book. It's where you find yourself when you realize, if I'm gonna do what God has actually called me to do, this version of me is gonna have to die. Now see, that's a message in itself, but I promised myself I wouldn't bother that today. But here's what I want you to see. If Jesus's journey required him to leave what was comfortable in order to get to his calling, what makes you think you exempt? Now I'm gonna say this and I'm done. You've got too much potential for you to still be where you currently at. At one point, it was okay for you to be here, but now you know too much to not be doing better than what you're doing. And you know exactly what area of life I'm talking about too. Now, I'm not saying the journey is going to be easy, but if there's anything that Jesus just taught us, it's this. When your journey requires you to go through a valley, make sure you find yourself going into prayer. Y'all, this is why the Bible is so amazing. When you get to the point where you actually understand what's going on.
There you go. So, and that's why I felt myself going back and forth. Keep on going back and forth, and God has really been working on me from the inside, saying that I need to make the decision. Like, I need to make the decision where I want to be and what I want to be doing next. In order to be able to grow and get to what God has for me next, I have to get rid of or kill. And I'm not saying, like you said, Phoenix, that person is still a part of me, but it's a person that is no longer necessary. And no longer necessary for where I'm going. So he'll always be there, but for where I'm trying to go and what I'm trying to be and what I'm trying to show out in this world and for myself, that person is no longer necessary. So, and And that's what that kind of meant to me. It kind of hit me in my heart, and it kind of let me know, because God has told me for a long time, especially during this journey, I've been becoming more prevalent with listening and hearing him clearer, and hearing what I need to be doing and how I need to be moving. So therefore, I gotta get rid of the Beast One. I gotta, put him to the side. And like you said, I can use them, but I can use them for positivity too. I don't have to use them for negativity like I've been doing for a long time. And even as we had on I've talked about, I think I talked about it the other day, is what I said is, it's no longer fun to joke with somebody who doesn't get the joke, and just, why am I putting that negativity out for someone who doesn't even understand how it is? Like Chout Bauer, I can be negative. Daryl, I can be negative to Daryl. He knows that I love him. You know what I'm saying? He knows that we are friends to the end, no matter what. If he called me at 3 a.m. in jail, I'm not asking him why. I'm bailing him out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not asking him what he did or any questions like that. Daryl knows there'll be no asking. It'll be like, I got you, dog, whatever you need. So, and just saying that, it's so I can play with people and joke with them and this, that, and the other. Like me and Molly can argue, and I know Molly. I know Molly. A lot of times I know what Molly doing. He trying to get me to do that. I'm not LA. I ain't gonna fall for it every time. It was real funny though, Molly. The other day we was on the show, and when we was going back and forth, LA texted me and said, "You know what Molly trying to do, right?" Yeah, I know what he trying to do, dog.
I seen the ball turning. I seen it hitting there. I said, "Yeah, he there."
Who? You ain't get me there. I wasn't there.
He said, "Oh no, I ain't going for it." Yeah, you got it.
Oh yeah, it did. I ain't gonna lie, it did needle a little bit, but it was but it's all love and fun, man. And but it's just about being the most authentic part about me. But yeah, those kind of tough conversations I'm for. I love having, and I love being a part of. You know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid of any of those conversations. So it's good. But I just wanted to show that I'm not gonna I do have one more I want to show real quick. But anybody got does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to add or anything that they're going through that they want to discuss or maybe talk about real quick? Chout Bout?
I know Chout going through something.
I remember a time when I was younger and I used to be wilding all the time, you know what I'm saying? And once I got to a certain age, like I knew, like I could admit that I was behaving the way that I was behaving because I ain't had my pops around. You know what I mean? I knew he was living. I knew that he was not in New York where I lived at, and he would come visit, and I wanted him around more. You know what I mean? Even though I was in the hood, and most of my friends didn't have their parents, like both of their parents in the house. You know what I mean? Maybe a few of them did, but all of my cousins had their pops in the crib. You know what I'm saying? Like all of my boy cousins that I used to play with and stuff, most of them had their dad in the house with them. And those was my mother's brothers, you know what I mean? So a lot of the times if I got in trouble, she would call one of them and they would come scoop me up. And that's what I was really wanting. I was wanting for them to come scoop me up so that I have that piece of that fatherhood that I was missing, you know what I'm saying? So I used to constantly be wilding all the time, and then it got to the point where they ain't even want to deal with me no more because I got older and the level of shit that I was doing was even more intense, you know what I'm saying? So, but then me and my pops, we finally got a relationship when I was like 16, 17 years old, and like having that relationship with him where I was speaking to him like every other day, and you know what I mean? My moms was starting to let me go to South Carolina and chill with them and shit for a couple of months out the summer. That kind of slowed me down a little bit to where, you know what I'm saying? I knew what it was that I could admit that's what it was that I was missing. You know what I'm saying? And then I had my first son. So that really slowed me down a little bit. You know what I mean? But Yeah, that was something as a young man going through. Like all of my cousins had their pops in the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of my friends that I was out, like even my friends, when my uncles would come pick me up, like my uncle lived in Flushing. You know what I mean? I lived in South Jamaica, and my uncle lived in Flushing, so he used to come get me and take me to Flushing for the weekend. And all my homeboys that didn't have their pops, like, oh man, you leaving, man, you going with your uncle? Like they would hate because they used to want the same thing too. You know what I'm saying? Like they used to want a male role model to come pick them up and take them to go through things. Like my uncle used to take us to Mets games and do different things like that. And I was longing for the father figure that I didn't have all the time with me. You know what I mean? And I didn't really understand what I was going through until I was able to start hanging with my pops and realize, like, damn, this is what it really, really, really was. What I was missing, like. But
yeah, nah, I feel you on that. Definitely feel you on that. You know, my dad died when I was 11. I still have resentment for my uncles because they didn't show up for me. I really do. And I mean, that's something that I've discussed. I'm sure I've discussed it on the show before. And my wife never understood it either. Even in our relationship, like when we had family gatherings, I didn't want to go. And she's like, why? I was like, no, I don't really mess with him. But I did. I definitely had resentment because of that, because, I felt like my uncle should have showed up for me. And it's almost something that is really important to me for the kids and people in my life to be there, to be there for, I've had my nephew on there, Paul. He was another person that, had a rough coming up. And, I wanted to make sure I was always there for him. You know what I'm saying? And even my niece, the same thing. I wanted to make sure I was always there for her because I felt like my uncles wasn't there for me when my father died. And, it was definitely something I struggled with as well. So I hear you. I definitely hear you.
Yeah, now that I have to give all of my uncles, like all of them, like, and I even have, like, you know how you have cousins that's really they really your cousins, but because they so much older than you, you grew up calling them uncle or whatever. Like my Uncle Tommy, like I got uncles and older cousins that really stepped up and used to come try to help my moms out. But I ever since I was 13, I've been 6'4", you know what I'm saying? So and a couple of my uncles, I know that they wasn't really about it. So when they used to try to come at me crazy, I would fight them.
Big ass nephew.
Yeah, the big ass nephew. But my uncle Ren and my uncle Larry, I ain't play with them too much because my uncle Larry was in the Marines and he knew karate, and then my uncle Ren, he just was a dumb out. Like, how you get crazy until you see somebody really, really do some crazy.
Yeah, you think you crazy.
So your uncle was 730. Your uncle
was
730?
Yeah. He was always 730. Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a New York. That's a New York thing. 730. Yeah. You know what I was talking about.
Yeah, he definitely 730. He jumped. But see, that was because I had just fought one of my other uncles. So when he came, he already knew, like, oh, okay, I got to go to the extreme. And he jumped out the car with the baseball bat and came straight at me.
So you from 40 Projects?
Now I'm from Baisley.
Oh, you from Baisley? Oh, all right. I was over there Saturday.
Okay.
On God Brewer side.
Go ahead and say it, Chow. Say who you are, Chow.
Yeah, man. Chow Bout, aka Bout, got jokes, man. Straight out of Southside Jamaica, Queens, same neighborhood as 50 Cent, no cap. You know what I'm saying? I do stand up.
Here we go with these Queens dudes. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
hey, you know how I do, man. Where you from?
From the East. You already know when I say the East. Yeah, I ain't got to say no more.
Okay.
That shit sound Chinese to me, man. What they talking about?
I don't know. They doing that New York thing where they all think they tough from stuff. Ain't nobody own a house in the projects, and they swear each project was tougher than the other. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, that's how it was. I'm from East New York, like, you know what I mean. That's how it is. He know.
Yeah, he from Uncle Murder Hood.
No.
Murder Hood.
Listen, it was around before Uncle Murder, but I'm gonna give him his flowers. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give him because he is from. You know what I mean?
I used to run around in the 90s and shit back in the days with my homeboy Duke.
Oh, okay, yeah, because we got Cypress, Pink Houses.
Nobody care about this.
You know them DMV.
Let's go back to me.
You know DMV.
Let's go back to me and what I'm doing here. But
Okay, I'm sorry, sir.
Nah, so anyway, but yeah, on my journey to get better, that's my goal. I've said it publicly now. I'm here. That's one of the reasons why I do this is because, I kind of feel like if I sit here and say it publicly, then I'm gonna do I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I do it in private, I've already began the beginning of letting the beast one relax for a while, letting that persona. Because a lot of that persona is not sorry, Woo. I was in a private, so that's why Woo always want to call somebody out. Hey, man.
All caps.
But yeah, all caps. Woo. How you doing, brother? Slicky Woo Boo. That's my man. Anyway, yeah. DJs, don't do that. He'll come for you. He'll find you, though. But anyway, going to be that person that I'm going to be, and just moving in that right direction. I felt like it was a need. It was something calling me out to really get rid of that personality, and then that way, people will understand why. Like from this point on, I may not interact in certain conversations anymore. You know what I'm saying? I may not be a part of that episode or whatever the case may be. And unfortunately, I can learn from what I've been telling Reese is, if you ain't banging on Friday, you ain't banging. Let's not talk about Freaky Friday. So for me, if I'm not being negative, then I'm not going to sit here and talk about negative things or be a part of negative comments or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I really want to be. That's the level where I want to hold myself and things like that. So I just don't want nobody to be confused in the future when they like, hey, what happened to that dude? What happened to this? What happened to that? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still a smart ass by nature. So, I ain't going to let it go. I'm still not going to let go Chow Bow's basement. You know what I'm saying? I'm still not going to let go Daryl's big ass lips. I'm not going to let go, Molly. I'm not going to let go Molly being the laziest super producer I know. So, none of those things. Phoenix, I have nothing negative to say about you. So, you're good. But
I
I'm still,
appreciate it. I'm sure there are some people that do.
Yeah, well, it's all good. But I'll figure something out later. But but either way, I'm still gonna, those things still are there because they're true. So therefore, I'm gonna keep it moving. But but now being in some of those conversations, like with Molly's best friend and stuff like that in the comments, I'm not gonna do that no more. I'm good with that. I'm gonna move on, and anybody else that doesn't get the joke, if I see that they don't get the joke, then I'm not gonna joke with them. You know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. So it's all good. But y'all can definitely say whatever you got to say about me. Chow Bao can say that I've been married to the same woman, getting the same thing for 25 years. Don't feel like that hurts my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Don't feel like anything. Daryl, you can say I'm the ugliest light skin I took out. I'll be sure, and whoever. I don't care. That stuff
Christopher
don't
Williams,
bother me.
don't forget him.
Yeah, well, Christopher Williams is on something else himself. He did. Wesley Snipes messed that up for him. You know what I'm saying? So I can't take the blame for him, but I can take the blame for a few others. But it's just it is what it is. I don't know if I'm gonna be respectful more. Like I said, if people get the joke, then I'll joke with them. Like DJ, Slicky Woo Woo, I'll mess with you all the time because you're not really mad. You're not over there losing your mind or anything like that. Even though you still can't find your caps button. I don't understand that. I mean, it's been 2 years and I don't think you figured out how to cut the caps off yet. I'm waiting for that to happen. So it's all good, but it's all fun. It's all games. It's all love. I'm gonna go ahead. I do got one more clip real quick. I'm gonna show this clip and I'm gonna get out of here. If anybody want to talk about anything else, I'm down for it too.
Let's talk about that hairline.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay.
Fighting it
okay.
Let it go, brother. Just cut it bald.
Man, this is the same hairline I had since I was 14.
And
man.
I told you to cut it back then.
You did.
And he brother or sister that wounds me deeply, you expect me to just keep forgiving people over and over and over and over again? That is, watch, Lord, you're telling me there is no limit to forgiveness? What Peter's saying. So I don't got a license to at least hold somebody in unforgiveness?
That ain't the right clip. Let's try this.
I mean, he was going in though.
He was, yeah, but that was something. That's something else I'm working on. That was for a different show. I'm gonna do another show about forgiveness. That's something that
Speaking of forgiveness,
go ahead.
We
can talk about that next.
Took it off caps, man. I ain't never see that. Slicky took his shit off caps.
My man, Slicky, yo, hold on, I gotta put that up there. Yeah, boy.
Oh, regular caps.
Yeah.
Wow, it don't even look right now.
Yeah, his computer, his computer gonna blow up. That John ain't gonna know what to do. All right, we can talk about forgiveness after this for sure. I'm down to talk about it. Hold on, let me play this last clip, this clip, and then we can actually watch that clip if you want. But here we go.
And from the outside in, Jesus changes people from the inside out. That's why you should stop hating on the prostitute who's now coming to church. And stop hating on the dude who's smoking weed and now coming to church. And stop hating on the person that's cursing who's not coming to church. You trying to put your laws, your man-made regulations on them. Let them come to church and curse. Let them come to church and get back on the pole tomorrow. Let God work in her heart, his heart, until their behavior change. Come on, man. That's man-made. The Lord ain't never told nobody, get your life right, then come to me. He never said that. Fix your life. Get out the club. Stop smoking. Stop drinking. Fix your sexual identity. He never said that. Follow me and I will make you. So why are you scrapping all of that to them? He just got saved last week and you gave him 20 laws he got to abide by. Religion.
So you didn't catch that. Religion tries to change you from the outside. Jesus will change you from the inside. And like I was saying, for all those people that look at me and they like, well, all the stuff that I've done a lot. I've done a lot. And, once again, don't look at the messenger, look at the message. But then the other thing is, I'm on a journey where Jesus is changing me from the inside. It don't matter what's going on, what you may think, all the judgment, all the things that may have happened before. Now I'm in a different place doing different things. You know what I'm saying? So, I felt like that was something that was actually something I wanted Chef Dennis to see too, because me and him had that argument one time, and because he don't get me wrong, Chef Dennis is a great Christian, but he always looks at people from the outside, and that was something I wanted to address to him. I'm sorry that he had to go and miss it, but I'll be on his show tomorrow and I will address it. So
I'm surprised we didn't address how many strippers was in that church when he said what he said.
They was clapping.
Well, that was their past life. That was their past life.
That was their past life. But he fixing them.
God is fixing them. Religion don't fix you.
Yeah, God is fixing them. That's what I'm saying. When I say he fixing them, that's what I'm talking about. God is
okay. I got you.
He working on them from the inside out.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the biggest thing that I feel that the church and things like that. People always want to judge from the outside.
And that's a fact. That's a reason why a lot of people don't go to churches, because people, they feel like the other people that's been going to church for a long time is going to judge them, or a female might not have the time to wear the church just yet and don't want to go to church because she like, I don't want them to be judging me because I got this kind of dress on, or You know what I mean? A brother might not have a button-up shirt with a tie to put on with some jeans. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, I don't want to go to shirt with this Amari shirt on. You know what I mean? Like a Mary shirt on, because you know they might judge me and think that I'm selling drugs or something.
Y'all can hear me right? My dang on camera just, I think I got a short in this.
Because of all that ugliness you got.
Oh, there you go.
But you know the thing about that, if people actually knew who the people were in the church, they wouldn't think that. The worst people are those sitting in the pews. And I grew up in the church. The worst ones be the ones sitting in the pews and the one behind the pulpit. And so if we think about that, we wouldn't be ashamed.
Hey, Beast, you see his hallways? That's why Brooklyn dudes be so mad. They can't even stretch their arms out all the way to walk down. The hallways are so tight in Brooklyn, they be mad as hell, for real.
I know dudes talking about them.
We losing him.
Yeah, he getting in the elevator with the door that you got to swing open. It don't slide open.
Yeah. So I guess I'll show that. I'm gonna show that forgiveness clip. And Louisa, I guess you had something you wanted to say. You wanted to ask or say something about forgiveness?
Yes.
Okay. Hold on. Let me. I'll pull that clip. And I mean, we want to get ready to get out of here. I ain't gonna hold y'all all night. This ain't an LA show where you can send me $5 and we gonna go. We gonna talk longer. You know what I'm saying?
That $5 will go to a coffee or something.
I put the cash up. I got you.
Or Reese show where Reese don't know when the hell to cut the show off. You know what I'm saying? Where's she at anyway?
She lost her cousin. Her cousin passed.
Oh, for real? Oh, yeah. You know what? She did say something about that. I'm sorry. I was so wrapped up in myself. I forgot about that. Shout out to Reese. Sorry to hear you. Definitely send my love to you.
Sorry for your loss, Reese. I'm gonna have to shoot a message.
Let me go ahead and share this one. And here we go.
You're telling me that as I live this life, any brother or sister that wounds me deeply, you expect me to just keep forgiving people over and over and over and over again? That is, watch, Lord, you're telling me there is no limit to forgiveness? What Peter's saying, so I don't got a license to at least hold somebody in unforgiveness even for a little while, Lord? Peter is looking for a workaround around boundless forgiveness. The Lord is trying to take that away from him. Now look at me. This is a difficult teaching because in our natural flesh, it is not easy to forgive people when they wound you. I can testify of being hurt by people, and my first response is not forgiveness, it's vengeance. It's retaliation. It's, I don't owe you forgiveness. I know I'm not the only one who has been deeply wounded by somebody, and your first response was not forgiveness. Your first response was cuss them out. Your first response was cut them off. Your first response is not naturally, let me just let this person go. You betray me or just let them go. Stepping out on me or just let them go. Deceive me or just let them go. No, family. You ain't that righteous. That's not your natural first response. For a lot of us, our natural first response is pain. It's tears. It's heartbreak. It's hold that person until I'm ready to do something with them. The Lord knows something about you and I that we forget that he knows about you and I. The Lord knows, watch this, that you are human. And he knew that you would struggle with this teaching. He knew when he said this in the first century that this would seem almost unnatural for us to just keep forgiving people that wound us. He knew that in our weakness, we would struggle with this level of teaching.
All right, there you go, Louisa. Louisa, you got a message for us about that? Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay, so it's two parts then, because I was going to say something else till I heard what he said. So we must remember that forgiveness is not for that person. That's why it's so hard for us to do it. If we understood that we're not forgiving that person for what they did, we're forgiving the pain that it caused. Because they don't feel nothing. You holding on to it, you holding grudges, you angry. They don't feel that. They don't care. If they did, they wouldn't have did it, or at least would have come and apologized, tried to make amends. You forgive so you can let go and move forward. That's what forgiveness is actually for. That's the part from the video. Another thing of forgiveness what I was gonna bring up was you have to forgive you for what the parts of you don't like caused. That's a big part. We also hardly ever forgive ourselves. So what I was going to tell you and everybody else, take the time to talk to yourselves. What I do when I do, like sometimes I do tea parties, I do little events. I have people write letters to themselves, talking to themselves, expressing how you felt or apologizing for being that person that caused the pain to yourself. And I really recommend everybody do that because when you look at it later, you see where you were and you can think about where you are now. It's a good reflection of the places you've been, the journey that you're on. I found 2 of my letters, which is why I brought it up. I found 2 of them yesterday. I was going through papers and I was like, wow. We don't realize how much we hurt ourselves. We don't realize how much we put ourselves on the back burner or how much we allow other people to walk all over us. And we blame them, but it's really us. We let them do it. So you got to take the time to look at you and apologize to you. And that helps you move forward too.
I seriously struggle with forgiveness. I've struggled with forgiveness for a long time in my life. And forgiving others. I hold a grudge to the day I die. You know what I'm saying? And I've been working on it. And it's been something I've been praying about and doing this, that, and the other. I still have one person that I can't forget. I still have that where I think about it and I still try. I've really prayed and talked to God and said that, you know what, I'm going, you know, I need to forgive this person, but I can't. And like as soon as he comes to my brain, it just instantly fuels me back up. And I'm trying to really not give it power anymore because it definitely has hindered me in a lot of things. But I don't know. It's still just. Well, I think it all extends with my problem with forgiveness. Still extends with a lot of the stuff with my childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like I can openly talk about my uncles in my childhood, not forgiving them. But I forgive them now. I love them now. I did love them then, but you know, it was still, you know, you as a child, you don't know how to process things.
Yeah.
And once again, none of us are perfect, so I can't expect for my uncles to have been perfect. You know what I'm saying? But the other thing is that for me myself, you know, I guess if I didn't have that pain, I wouldn't be a great uncle that I am to my niece. Or go the extra step when it comes to that. But a lot of that has to do with my brother too. My brother was there and he did help me get through a lot of the things. But I don't know. I just feel that, and I had that clip because it really is unnatural to forgive. You know what I'm saying? It really is something that you have to continuously work at because you know. Even though what you said is true, that forgiveness is more for you than it is for that other person. But in reality, why should you forgive? You know what I'm saying? The only thing that helped me with forgiveness is because I said I want to forgive because I want people to forgive me. You know what I'm saying? So the only way that people will forgive me is if I forgive other people and forgive them as well. You know what I'm saying? So that has been the main thing that I've held on to try to help me to get there. But still, that person, I can't.
Well,
I'm still not there.
I totally understand. What you're going to have to do is remove that person from where it hurts.
Oh, he's removed.
No, I mean like in your mind and in your heart. You got to remove him. Because if you think about it, you automatically see him. You don't see the pain. You see the person. You got to remove that person in order for you to deal with what it is. Also, another reason to forgive, it will kill you if you don't. Your body holds memory. That anger processes and it tends to turn to cancer. It will kill you because hate festers, love heals. You gotta let it go. My grandmother died when she was 45. I'm grateful that I was able to meet her and live with her as long, be with her as long as I was. My grandmother went through abuse, molestation by her stepfather, being ignored. She dealt with a lot of things. She had issues with men. My mother and my uncle do not know their father because she didn't trust men to be around her children because of the men around her, what they did to her. She held on to that pain. She never let it go. Never let it go. And she ended up, she worked, she was healthy. She was a beautiful chocolate woman. That's why I used to think I was dark-skinned. I used to think that. I thought I was dark.
Say that one more time. She was what? A beautiful what?
A beautiful chocolate woman.
Okay,
I thought
thank
I
you.
was dark-skinned until my cousins proved me wrong because most of my family is dark-skinned and I'm not. So, so she just could not let it go. She wouldn't let it go. She wouldn't let it go. And she finally ended up dealing with a guy that she trusted, she fell in love with, but all that hate and stuff she ended up with pancreatic cancer. Let me just say that. She ended up with pancreatic cancer. And the guy that she, fell in love with, she moved down to South Carolina. She asked if he could come down there with her. He was down there, but she asked if he could stay. He broke her heart because he told her no. He left. Then she died. But from all the years, because none of that runs in our family. Cancer doesn't run in my family. And she's the only one of my family members that has ever had that. But it stems from hate. It stems from anger. It's other people that I know that just carried it, like my stepfather. He had all types of, his body shut down. He was I think he was in his early 50s when he died. But he had so much hate and anger for his father and his family. And he was in the street. So stuff, it's just a lot of things. You got to let that stuff go. You got to let it go. If for no other reason than your health, let it go.
Hey, all right. Slicky Woo Woo shooting a shot at you, Phoenix.
He always do that. Anybody paying attention? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
All right, Molly, did you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I think everybody, like you shared a couple of them videos, they want to live Christ-like, so to be Christ-like is what would Jesus do? We used to wear this band around our wrist back when we was going to church when we was younger. Just was a reminder when you get in situations, what would Jesus do? One of the things that God do, Jesus do, is forgive. Even after being backstabbed, he still found a way to forgive and still die for our sins and all these things. And I'm not even Christian, but I am Christ-like. Even Christ himself wasn't a Christian, so that's why I think all his metaphors and all the stories I hear about, he always say, look within. Even going through the ups and downs, they talked about it in the story. The guy mentioned that that's what Jesus had to go through to even get to where he was trying to pray. So it was like, I don't really look at the story like that, but I look at the way he looked at it. You're going to go through things in life just to try to get where you're trying to go, or where you're trying to go, So the goal for me is to be Christ-like, So I meditate. That's one thing that worked for me. I still pray. I changed my diet. That worked for me, because a lot of things, I was angry, and a lot of stuff come from the food. A lot of people don't believe those things, but we take on a lot of those.
Yeah, that's true.
Things that them animals go through,
All right, so the say I actually feel good because now I can do this to Molly. He do this to me all the time. So the
you
opinions
talking
of
about?
Molly does
I
not
don't know.
the opinions of Molly does not apply to the Beast on the Dad Mentality
What are you talking
podcast.
about?
So I just wanted to be able to do that. That felt good. I'm sorry.
On
That
Christ,
felt
like,
good.
man. What are you talking about, man?
Shoot, no, but people forget Jesus was human too. He flipped
Yeah,
tables. He got angry. We
yeah,
always look at him as
yeah,
peaceful, holy. He was human. He was a man. And then they cut the story off because he came back, right?
yeah.
He lived his life. This man probably got married, had children, and everything. We never hear that part. We never let him be human. We only keep him holy and pure. He was a man. He was human. So we're human. If we were built and created in the image of Christ, Jesus is our brother, which means we are just like him, human. And we have every right to feel the way we feel. We have every right to respond the way we respond, but you are not supposed to stay there. That's the lesson in Jesus.
Yeah.
All right, Molly, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead and you want to preach about what you eat and all that stuff. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, a lot of
Rastaman.
those things help, man. And you know, even with the bands, I was saying, even if you flip it, I mean, double just won't win. So,
So
you know,
we at the end though, Daryl.
that
Wow.
evil energy, you can't let it win, you know, and sometimes it get the best of you, you know. I ain't gonna go too long on it, but you know how we can get crazy with it. But
Nah, you good. Daryl, did you have anything you wanted to say about forgiveness or anything you got out of that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, not really. I mean, you like she was saying, like, you gotta forgive to make yourself better. And I had to do that early this year, honestly. Like with one of my uncles or whatever, because like, you know, when my pops died, I seen a whole different side of my family that I thought I wouldn't see. And it was just like, oh, all right. And I held a grudge for a minute because I was like, yo, I ain't rocking with him and none of that. And then I just said to myself, you know what? Let me just give myself peace. Let it go. It is what it is. I did my part. Now, if you still want to talk about me and all that, it's cool. But I know I'm straight because I forgive them. You know what I mean? And I understand what Molly is talking about. Like, you know, I live in New York, so it's nothing but Caribbeans up here. So, like, you definitely gotta, like, what you put in your body, it definitely is a cause and effect to a lot of things, like with your mood swings, your attitude, everything. So I understand what he's saying, like, you know. Yeah. So I'm definitely hip to what he's saying. It's just, you know, I was vegan for a year, but like when summertime come around, I love a good burger off the grill. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. Good grilled good jerk chicken off the grill is good, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. Especially this, I
11
can do it in the
years
winter.
in, man. 11
Huh?
years in. Going 11 years in now.
Oh yeah, no, that's cool. But I still do the sea moss and all that other stuff too. So the sour sop and all that. I mean, you know, I'm near the Rastaman. You know, they got a cure for everything. The Rastas got a cure for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You got green on your toe, they got a cure for it.
All right, fellas. Well, we're going to get ready to get out, fellas and ladies. Thank you, Phoenix, again for joining us. And once again, we are going to be breaking for the summer. The mentality will be coming back in September for that football season. And, you know, still talking about great things and great things to come. You know, I will be posting throughout the summer every once in a while just to put some stuff out there and, you know, let everybody know what's going on. I appreciate everybody for coming out, showing up, and joining me today. You can catch me still on the Morning Max show. Tomorrow I got to work, but tomorrow night I will be on From the Battle to the Glory with my boy Chef Dennis, who was here earlier. And then, you know, you can catch Molly, catch Phoenix on the Morning Max show every Monday through Friday, 10:30 until now 12:30. If Reese can keep her track record going, we'll see. But you can check them all out on there. I want to thank everybody for joining me. Thank you for having this conversation. Thank you for, you know, just being a part of it. And God bless. Good night.
Thank you for allowing us to be here.
We out.